You're listening to 12 Degrees Freely with Madeline Andrews, striving to level the playing field so people can be, do, and have the life they always wanted. Hi, Madeline Andrews here, also known as the Energy Diva. Today's episode, we're going to explore the power of suggestion and its influence on parallel universes, multiple perceptions of reality. So, what I did for this episode, I took one part from an ebook which I wrote, Power of Suggestion, and another part was a title from one of my chapters in my book, Ultimate Alchemy. So, in previous episodes and subsequent episodes, I talk about concepts. And you guessed it, suggestions are concepts, a block of energy serving as a vibrational field of information. And this information has an outward expression, whether it be a thought or a sound or color, shape, or a combination of these. Vibrations have an outward expression forming every aspect of your thoughts, whether they be because of past experiences, or you were taught, or you were told, or even if they were from the gift of universal mind, which shows up as pure potentiality that seems to come from nowhere. They can express in sound, from sound so low in pitch you cannot hear them, to sound so high in pitch a horse or a dog or some other animal may hear it, but perhaps you can't. Vibrations can also express as colors. So, in my book, I offered the question, what if color, hue, or race is nothing other than a vibration of a certain frequency? Consequently, the result of trajectories of photons of light passing through a prism of spirit. Something to ponder. Vibrations can also express as shape. Thus, a certain vibration is going to express a tree versus a flower versus a stream versus a bee. And a combination of these vibrations is going to give rise to the colors, sounds, and shapes of these trees, flowers, streams, and bees. But going back to the expression of this vibrational field of information as a suggestion, it's a concept of form, and the form combines to make up the reality or the quote-unquote mini-universe in which people live in. But remember, this form is neutral until there's another form or force acting upon it. So it's still in the field of potentiality. Cool. Doesn't hold a grain of salt. However, the suggestion is still a vibrational field of information. If it holds weight to the receiver, and remember it can come bearing belief systems and points of views, even in the midst of experimentally provable and comprehensible stuff, if it holds weight to the receiver, here's where we could possibly have a problem. It very well can override and serve as a control mechanism. And sometimes there are going to be so many conflicting suggestions to the receiver to the point that he or she is conflicted. Now, piggyback onto this, before I offer solutions to navigate past suggestions that aren't quote unquote helping the cause, let me interject right here, parallel universes, multiple perceptions of reality, because I feel like the two tie in together. So just hold on a little bit for solutions to get you past the suggestions that might not be serving you. Okay, so parallel universes, multiple perceptions of reality is actually the title of one of the chapters of my book, Ultimate Alchemy. I started this chapter with the premise that we have a lot of people on planet Earth, and every single one of them, no matter what, is operating under his or her own belief system, whether aware or not. And it shapes his or her reality and that little mini universe that I was speaking of, as well as his or her own paradigm. Now, Wouldn't it be such a great thing if we could figure out what made up the little mini universe for each and every person on the planet? I mean, think about it. It's so varying and vast, made up of so many experiences and judgments of the experiences. You know, what we tell our brains about those experiences and how we define them. When you step back and look at it, you see how easy it is that we either get it or we completely miss the mark when it comes to another person. Case in point, I once worked with this person who was so freaking book sense brilliant that he was put in the contestant pool once, actually I think it was twice, for the game show Jeopardy. To get on that show, you have to be really book smart or gifted enough to memorize a whole bunch of trivia. I mean, I used to study Trivia Pursuit cards to help my high school's Brain Bowl team, but this is on a whole different level. And I don't care how fast you think you can look up answers on Google, the online test is designed in a way that either you know it quickly or you don't. You are not about to use Google to get around it. Maybe for some of them, but all of them, it's just not happening. But this man was so book sense brilliant and brilliant in the way that he assessed things in his mind that he aced this test. And I think it was more than once. But anyway, he worked remotely and I was in the office. And we spent hours on the phone because a subject matter would come up. And I'd say, yeah, it's this because of XYZ. And he'd say, well, yeah, it is this, but not because of XYZ, but because of ABC. So this man and I would arrive at the same conclusion, but from a different line of thought. And I'd be so fascinated that I'd pick his brain just to see if I could figure out his train of thought for hours. But you see how we have these parallel universes. We humans may give the appearance that we're intersecting in each other's lives, but as Fuller explained, solids cannot pass through other solids, and lines simply superimpose but do not intersect. And when we're dealing with parallel universes, multiple perceptions of reality, who knows the multitude of experiences a person has had when you interact with him or her, much less how he or she has defined themselves what the experience means. And who knows how susceptible to the power of suggestion a person is, to the point that he or she can only see what is presented to them as factual. This is this, period. Who tests the theories and the laws according to that many more perceivers and that many years after the fact? And who changes the textbooks? So we're circling back around to the power of suggestions. And here, wouldn't it be great if we got a disclaimer like the ones we see on some of those commercials? Warning, this information may or may not be relevant to you or even serve you. Side effects may include anger if it's not your truth, confusion, actual aid, conflicting opinions, excitement, nervousness, laughter, sadness, or ever so often a dose of don't give a crap. If you find yourself receiving a suggestion, especially one that's not solicited, step back and ask yourself, why are they telling me this? Did I ask? Is it tainted with their beliefs? Did I ask them why they believe this? Or more importantly, how do they know? Will it serve me and help me get to my desired destination really? Or is it that ever occasional hemorrhoid? Just saying. 3 suggestions that I may offer to those suggestions that may not be so beneficial to you. 1, beware of projections. People are going to take their stuff and throw it on you like it's your own, except it's not. You don't have to own their stuff. That birds of a feather stuff is for the birds. Let them go down their own rabbit hole with their stuff. It's not yours. When suggested, ask yourself, why are they telling me this? And will this serve me to the capacity that I need it? That cuts through the crap. 2, honor yourself to be the subject matter expert on you. Got enough experts telling you about you, except they don't even know you. I find myself quickly asking out loud to the television set, what do you know? Yeah, that's another Napoleon Hill question he advised people to ask when folks claim to be an expert on something. But it's true. We don't know where it came from unless we ask. How do you know that? And finally, number 3, got this from Dr. Dane here in the Access Consciousness Camp. Be determined to ask more questions, and don't be so quick to answer it yourself. Let the solutions, multitude of solutions, come to you. And even with what I'm saying to you in this podcast, stay open. Don't allow information coming in to be permanent, fixed, or conditional. Stay open to the field of possibilities and potentiality. I'm Madeline Andrews, also known as the Energy Diva. Check out my website at madelineandrews.com or energydiva.com. That's INNERGDIVA.com, or 12 Degrees Freedom, the number 12, the 2 words degrees, freedom spelled out.com. There you can find my products, services, programs, my email list, and social media links. And always remember, the greatest gift God ever gave us was the gift of mind, not the brain. Give yourself the great gift by tapping into universal mind and open yourself up to the possibilities.